Gopijana Vallabha Girivanidhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivanidhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivanidhari Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanidhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanidhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanidhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanidhari Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astottara Srimad ISKCON Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Dham Mayapur Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskricha Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tator Jayamudirayat Nasta Prayashu Abadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Calculation of Time from the Atom, Chapter 11 of Canto 3, Text 39 and 40. So I'll just do 39 myself, and then we'll repeat text 40. Kālo ayam paramāṇv-ādir. Thank you, Ramaswar. Dvi-parārdhānta īśvaraḥ. naiveśituṁ prabhur bhūmna īśvaro dhāma-māninām. Translation: Eternal time is certainly the controller of different dimensions, from that of the atom up to the superdivisions of the duration of Brahma's life. But nevertheless, it is controlled by the supreme time, by the supreme. Time can control only those who are body conscious, even up to the Satyaloka or the other higher planets of the universe. Please repeat after me. Vikāraiḥ sahito yuktair visheshadibir-avritah adankao bahirayam panchashat koti vistrataha vikāraiḥ sahito yuktair visheshadibir-avritah andakosho bahir ayam panchashat koti vistritaha. Vikāraiḥ sahito yuktair visheshadibir-avritah andakosho bahir ayam panchashat koti vistritaha. Vikāraiḥ sahito yuktair visheshadibir-avritah andakosho bahir ayam panchashat kotir vistritaha vikāraiḥ sahito yuktair visheshādibhiravritaha andakosho bahirayam panchashat koti vistritaha vikāraiḥ sahito yuktair visheshādibhiravritaha andakosho bahirayam panchashat koti vistritaha. Ladies, vikāraiḥ sahito yuktair visheshādibhiravritaha andakosha bahirayam panchashat koti vistritaha. Vichara sahito yuktair visheshādibhiravritaha andakosho bahirayam panchashat koti vistritaha. Anyone else? Vichārāya sahito yuktair visheshādibhiravritaha andakosho bahirayam panchasat koti vistritaha. Vikāraiḥ, by the transformation of the elements. Sahitaha, along with. Yuktair, being so amalgamated. Vishesha, manifestations. Ādiḥ, by them. Avritaha, covered. Andakoshaha, the universe. Bahi, outside. Ayam, this. Panchashat, 50. Koti, 10 million. Vistritataha, widespread. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. This phenomenal material world is expanded to a diameter of 4 billion miles. As a combination of 8 material elements, transformed into 16 further categories within and without as follows. As explained before, the entire material world is a display of 16 diversities and 8 material elements. The analytical studies of the material world are the subject matter of Sankhya philosophy. The first 16 diversities are the 11 senses and the 5 sense objects. And the 8 elements are the gross and subtle matter, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and ego. All these combined together are distributed throughout the entire universe, which extends diametrically to 4 billion miles. Besides this universe of our experience, there are innumerable other universes. Some of them are bigger than the present one, and all of them are clustered together under similar material elements as described below. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangur Langayate Girim Yat Kripanidhi Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. So Maitreya Muni, being instructed by Vidura on calculation of time from the atom. So here we're being given the picture of how the universe is manifested. We have read in the 5th canto the Vedic cosmology, the structure of our universe. Of course, there are many trillions and trillions of universes emanating from a plenary portion of a plenary portion of a plenary portion of Krishna. Karanadaksha Vishnu is lying in the causal ocean, and he's breathing out these millions and trillions of little capsules. And within each capsule, he again enters into each capsule as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, who is lying on the ocean, the Garbhodak ocean, on Sheshanag. So these are very personal descriptions of the cosmos. Unfortunately, today, the knowledge elites in our society in the grand universities, they're simply relying on their imperfect instruments like telescopes and microscopes, and they're trapped in the philosophy of empiricism, that we can reduce all things, all material things, down to its basic building blocks, and we can drill down into the atom, and they've found energy, quantum, little quantums, and so on. And they say, we don't see God. Asatyam apratishtam te jagadahura īśvaram. They say there's no, life is temporary, it's just material. And that the whole cosmos came from a big explosion 14 billion years ago. They call it the Big Bang. There was a singularity. That means that the universe sucked itself into a point of infinite density and infinite temperature called a singularity. This is the theory going on, which is being indoctrinated into the minds of all the students, all the young people of the world at the big famous universities like Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge. So Krishna says, Name prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha, that I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. Mudhoyam nabijanati mama paramāṇv-ādir mamebhya paramāṇv-ādir. That Lord Krishna is so infinitely powerful. Sarvasya shaktir vividhai vishruyate svabhavaki jnana bala kriyacha natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natatyamasya vyarigyas cha drishyate. Sarvasya shaktir. God is infinitely powerful and potent. He has so many shaktis. We're simply learning here about a tiny little part of his creation, the material world, the ekapada vibhuti. And it's made of bhumir apanalo vayu kamano buddhi evacha, as described here, the 8 elements. And then by the power of Lord Brahma, different species are generated. 8,400,000 species of life are generated. As Prabhupada describes in some of the purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's so many aquatics, so many insects, so many worms, 400,000 humans, types of human beings. This whole show is going on, and Krishna says, Mata parataram nanyat kinchit asti daman dhananjaya. Sutre mani, everything is simply depending on him as pearls are strung on a thread. And Krishna tells Arjuna, Furthermore, in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Mayata tamidam sarvam jagada vyaktamurtina vatstani sarvabhutani maite teshu chapyam. That I am spread. So Krishna is spread by his unmanifest energy in every atom, between every atom. And he is sustaining all these planets. These atheistic scientists are simply speculating about all these various planets that are huge, huge planets like the sun, the moon, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, the Earth planet. They're so heavy, but Krishna is suspending them by his power, by his potency. Therefore, sarvasya shaktir vividhayava shuyate swabhavaki jnana bala kriyacha. So what can they know? Mogasha moga karmana moga jnana vichestichaha. Rakshashim asur. Krishna condemns them as rakshashas, as demons. They have a propensity, a predilection towards killing God. Basically, Hiranyakashipu. He just wanted to do away with God. How can I get rid of God? Oh, I'll stop, Vedic sacrifices. I'll destroy all the ashrams of the sages. He terrorized the entire universe. This is envy of God. They're simply envious of God. This is the living entity under the modes of nature. Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata. That living entities come into this world overwhelmed by the dualities of desire and hate, contaminated by the modes of material nature, to become rebellious towards the Supreme Lord, the Divine Lord, who's actually constantly hankering, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was hankering. How can we deliver these souls who are burning up in this ocean of birth and death? Every day we say samsara dava nala lida loka. The spiritual master is like a rain cloud which is pouring water, extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. So the living entities are mogashamo, they're completely bewildered by this energy of the Lord. Tribir gunamaya bhavir ebi sarvam idam jagat mohitam nabhijanati mamibhya paramāṇv-ādir. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, out of compassion, he's speaking on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And again he comes right here in Sridham Mayapur, a few hundred years ago, and becomes as a devotee to deliver the fallen souls, to try and edify them, to elevate them to real knowledge. So all these material elements and the senses, Krishna is supplying these things to us. And we're simply going on. The materialistic person is simply caught up, as Jada Bharat in the 5th canto tells Maharaj Agnidra that the living entity, the foolish human being, is struggling in this forest of material enjoyment. He takes shelter of family members, but they're described as predators, as like tigers and foxes. We're simply draining him. Father, give me this. Father, give me that. And he's going through life. Purusho prakritisto hi bhunkti prakriti sadgunan. He's going through life struggling simply to maintain his so-called empire. Ato griha kshetra sutapte veter janasya mohoyam ahamameti. I am this body. These things belong to me. I am very powerful. Inam adya maya labdam imam prapshe manoratam. By my mental ideas and inventions, I will create an empire of wealth. And so person is my enemy and I have to destroy him. This is going on. The Prabhupada calls it the great struggle for material existence. So Jada Bharat is preaching to King Rahugana that you're thinking yourself a king, but these are all illusory concepts of life, and that you simply have to pursue spiritual life. You're thinking that I am your pallbearer, and you are my master. And so gradually Maharaj Rahugana comes to the stage of understanding who Bharat Maharaj is, a great, great devotee of the Lord, and he's teaching him, preaching to him, how to come out, atato brahmajigya, how to come out of this struggle in material existence, the struggle in material existence. So all these big scientists that are dominating as we call them, knowledge elites, they're dominating the process of knowledge and trying to unravel the mysteries of the universe. They're trying to unravel the mysteries of the universe and explain in their own materialistic ways the cosmos. Where did it come from? And as they say, demoniac persons like Richard Dawkins, he said, this universe has no purpose, no meaning, and we're simply pitted against each other in an attempt to survival of the fittest. Unfortunately, these types of philosophies, they infiltrate into social and political underpinnings. For example, it's described that Nazism and Marxism, they embrace this idea of survival of the fittest. And so this social Darwinism created huge amounts of chaos in the world. In World War II, 50 million people died. And also in the communist revolution, so many people were killed by these great tyrants and dictators. So actually this Maya is very dangerous. The illusory energy of the Lord is very, very dangerous. Unfortunately, Prabhupada said, in our universities and colleges and places of education, there's no faculty for understanding what I am. Who am I? The conscious soul within the body and its relationship with the Supreme Soul. As Krishna says in the 15th chapter, Doimo Purusho Loke Sharam Aksharam Evacha. There's the fallible and infallible living entities. And then he says, Uttama Purushottavanya Paramatmeti Udaritaha. And above the fallen and liberated living entities, the Nityasiddhas, is the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord. Yo loko trayam avishya bibarti avyaya īśvaraḥ. And I am sustaining all the planets, all the universes in my form. Shiradakshay Vishnu is sustaining all the planets within our universe. And so they're making these futile attempts to go to other planets. So Prabhupada wrote Easy Journey to Other Planets. And in that book he's explaining, if you want to go to another planet, there's a process. And that this Sanatan Dharma, this Bhakti Yoga, is the science. It's a science of how to get out. Dharmasya hi apavargasya nartotaya pakalpate. That it's a science of how to develop love of God and thereby attain liberation, apavarga, liberation from the struggles of the material world. Pa, fa, ba, ba, and ma. These come from 5 different words. Pa, parabhavas tavada bodhajato. That people are going through life, but they meet with defeat at every step. Parabhavas tavada bodhajato yavanya jigyasata atmatadvam. People are simply going through life in pure ignorance. And fa, filina, comes from the word finila, which means that you see the donkey carrying huge loads, and all he needs is some grass, and he's frothing at the mouth. Finila, frothing at the mouth, like that. And then there's bhaya, or fear, that people are always fearing. They're always afraid. They're always worried that the government, as Jadabharti is explaining, the government may come and take their wealth away, or their relatives may come and steal their wealth, or this fear and that fear. The whole world is overwhelmed by the fearing propensity. And ultimately, mrityu, that Krishna comes in the form of time, kālo bharatarshava. He comes in the form of time and takes everything away. So, Sanatana Goswami, he approached Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he said, people call me a great pandit, a very learned person, but actually, I have no knowledge. I don't know anything. This is the way that one should approach the spiritual master. So the Dabir Kash and Sakir Malik, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was trying to go to Vrindavan, he went through a place called Radhadesh in Bengal, and the two brothers, Dabir Kash and Sakir Malik, they saw Lord Chaitanya and they put rope around their necks and they offered obeisances, they put straw in their teeth, and they offered their respects, and Sanatana Goswami was telling Lord Chaitanya that I am a fool. People consider me a great pandit, a great personality. He was such an aristocrat. He had so much wealth, so much position in the government. But he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great humility. Trinadapi sunichana taroreva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. This is the most essential instruction that that we have to take to heart and embrace. That one should consider oneself Lord on the straw on the street. A piece of dirt is lower than a straw in the street. And Turoreva, to be more tolerant than the tree. In this way, Sanatana Goswami had pleased Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami, very pleasing to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they were enlightened from within. And the devotees, when Rupa Goswami was writing so many wonderful descriptions of love of God, the ultimate goal of life, Prema Pumartha Mahan, Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, they were saying, oh, we see that Rupa Goswami, you have been blessed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to write so many wonderful corollaries to the Vedic literatures, so many wonderful descriptions of what it means to love God. Prema Pumartha Matan, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. The ultimate goal is the situation of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. That is the ultimate goal of our lives. To try and understand, like Uddhava was sent by Krishna to Vrindavan with a message from Krishna explaining that your love for me is the only payment I can give you. This prema, this intense love is experienced by the inhabitants of Vrindavan, and they don't care. Mother Yashoda, she was looking at Krishna when he opened his mouth, and she started to be, influenced by awe and veneration. And she was saying, oh, Krishna, you're the supreme Lord of all the universes. And Krishna got so bored, he just covered her again with the Yoga Maya. And so in this Yoga Maya, the devotees, their pure love of God is just like a flowing river to the ocean of Krishna. It is not tarnished or interrupted by īśvarya lila, awe and veneration. Oh, Krishna, you're the Supreme Lord. No, Mother Yashoda is experiencing this vatsalya, this mood of protection of Krishna, of maintaining Krishna, although Krishna, all the universes are situated within his body as Karanadaksha Vishnu. So Queen Kunti is also praying like that although all the universes are in you, I see that you are in the lap of Mother Yashoda. So Uddhava was sent by Krishna to Vrindavan to learn this pure love, this pure, unalloyed, flowing love for the Lord. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he himself left wonderful verses, yugaitam nameshina chakshusha prabhishaitam, that when will my eyes be filled with tears of love flowing constantly as I chant your holy name. And nam namakari bahudana, your holy name is full of potencies, and simply by chanting the holy names under the guidance of the acharyas, as Rupa Goswami writes in the Nectar of Instruction, that we have to follow tat karma pravartana, follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas, and then gradually we come to the stage of raga bhakti. In Veda bhakti, we're following very carefully the rules and regulations, and it's a little bit mechanical. But gradually, as the Lord reveals himself to us, we can develop the second stage of sadhana bhakti, or raganuga bhakti, where there is some spontaneity in serving the Lord. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Krishna says, think of me. Thinking of Krishna is not a mechanical experience. It's an emotion. When Haridas Thakur was sitting at the house of the Majumdaras, Govardhan Majumdara and Hiranya Majumdara, one of the employees of the Majumdaras, they were the treasurers for that area for the Mohammedan government. They had an employee, Gopal Chakravarti, who was a tax collector. And he said, who is this? This Haridas Thakur is such a sentimental, emotional devotee. Also, Prakashananda Saraswati Thakur, he also criticized, Lord Chaitanya, who's this Chaitanya? He's such an emotional person. What are these emotions? But this is, the soul is full of prema, love for God. It simply has to be awakened. It's already there in dormant stage, and it has to be awakened by this chanting of the holy names, by the offenseless chanting of the holy names. As Haridas Thakur told Gopal Chakravarti, it's even a glimpse of the holy name, Namabash, chanting the holy name, just a glimpse of it, just like when the sun, before you see the sun, there's the light, and it dissipates the darkness of the world. So similarly, a glimpse of the holy name gives you a liberation from more sins than you could ever commit in millions of lifetimes. And Gopal Chakravarti said, if that's true, if it's not true, your nose should be cut off, or cut your nose off. In this way, you offended Haridas Thakur, and the great Haridas Thakur, Namacharya. So, of course, when we offend devotees or great devotees, we commit the hati mata, or the elephant offense to the holy name, to the Lord. And in a few days, Gopal Chakravarti's beautiful fingers, beautiful facial features, melted down from having leprosy. So this is hati mata, the offending the great devotees of the Lord. So Haridas Thakur was full of love of God. So ultimately, this is the goal of our lives, how to develop this love of God. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us this very nice and simple process of Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajat. Simply by this constant chanting of the holy names, ultimately, satatam kirtayantos cha yachantas cha dhridavrata, yachantas mam dhridavrataha, namasyantas cha mam nityam, nitiyukta upasate, matchita madgata prana, bodhayantas parasparam, katayantas cha mam nityam. So devotees of the Lord, they're always enjoying each other's company by glorifying the Supreme Lord, his transcendental activities and pastimes, his different avatars, who he appears in so many different forms to attract the minds of devotees and engage in uplifting religious principles and re-establishing Dharma within the various universes. So this is the whole process, and this is the real purpose of this world, to understand, as here we're understanding the material universe and all the different aspects of it, and how it works, and how we can use everything, of course, ultimately using everything, our mind and senses, in the service of Lord Krishna. So as devotees of the Lord, our business is to, as Lord Chaitanya said, I order every man in the universe to become Krishna conscious and then give it to others. So we're a missionary movement, and these books that have been given, these purports by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada says, even if they touch my books, their lives will become perfect. So this movement is based on these books of the purports of Srila Prabhupada. And we're meant to give them to every person, everyone we meet. Yare dekitare kaha. You meet them and give them this great knowledge, which is meant, tadvad gisargo, meant to create a revolution within the lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Misdirected, as we spoke about the atheistic scientists and their propagation of ignorance throughout the world, and the fact that they try to suppress spiritual knowledge. So we're also considered to be warriors. Prabhupada compared the temples to be bases from which we go out and fight Maya, and that the devotees who are going out in the front lines, devotees who are distributing the holy names of the Lord, distributing this knowledge, and trying to reclaim the fallen souls into the lap of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada said they're like warriors or soldiers. So we have to become strong soldiers and try to embrace the compassion of the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. They came here to establish this Sankirtan movement in this dark age of Kali and push back Kali Yuga. That is our business, our main business, to become Krishna conscious and then give it to others. So thank you very much, and I'll take some comments or questions. Yes, Prabhu? Ramaswara, Prabhu?
I didn't mean to cut in front of him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you for that class. And when you started describing the atheistic scientists whose theories are taught in every school in the world, but behind there is their hatred of the concept of God. So when we hear that, we think, okay, it's just a few of these demons that hate God. But then you quoted from the Bhagavad Gita and said, every living entity is so envious that, and they come into the universe overwhelmed by the two dualities of desire and hate. So now you've made it everyone, including everyone sitting here. At one point we hated God. So, I try to think about this for the last 50 years. How does that work? How could I possibly hate God? Because I don't feel it. I don't even know what hate is, because I don't recall ever hating anybody in a personal way. I can imagine that if I have a daughter and I have a spiritual daughter. So if someone hurt either one, I would hate that person. Okay, so I can imagine hate coming out of something like that. But just being envious of God, I want what you have, and if you don't give it to me, I'll hate you. Is that the hate that you're talking about, or Krishna's talking about?
Well, hate has many subdivisions, like resentment, disdain. Sometimes as neophyte devotees, in the beginning stages of devotional service, even being influenced, as Kapila Dev says, there's 81 combinations of devotional service, in the modes of nature. So even amongst devotees, sometimes there is a feeling of envy or disdain or resentment. There's chemistry that some devotees don't get along with each other because we're still influenced by our false ego. You know, yasmin no dvijite loko, loka no dvijite chaya means that one who doesn't disturb anyone, or who always tolerates, even in the face of that perhaps he should be upset, but the devotee tolerates. Like Haridas Thakur, he tolerated the blasphemy of Gopal Chakravarti. So, yeah, hate is a very extreme thing. Like, you know, when there's a wartime and, you know, different nations hate each other and so on. But there's also this subsection of disdain, resentment. I don't like this devotee, and he's so puffed up, or he's so motivated. That's also a form of, perhaps a lesser form of hate. Oh.
That I get kicked out.
I think you know, it's very difficult to ascertain how we left the spiritual world. If we're all Nityasiddhas, and this is a constant controversy amongst the, how did the soul come from the spiritual world? Of course, Prabhupada will always tell us, when you find yourself in a well and someone throws you the rope, you know, you grab the rope. You don't start analyzing, well, force of gravity, and I fell into the well because of gravity or something. But definitely, people like outspoken atheists, like Richard Dawkins and others, they are staging an affrontal to any concept of God, any concept of God's existence. They feel completely angry and you know, perturbed when someone says, there could be intelligent designer behind the universe. Just like in Seattle, I'm a member of this Discovery Institute, and they're Christians and they're scientists, so they're demonstrating how life itself, they've discovered the you know, information content within the nucleus of the cell called DNA. And it's a code system, it's a coding system. So when we see code, we know there's a brain behind it, a mind behind it, and so on. So Richard Dawkins made a statement, he said, the world seems uncannily designed down to the information which instructs what, you know, what the cell does and what goes on in the cell and how it creates different little nanomachines and different building blocks to support it. So it's uncannily, this seems uncannily like it's designed. But we must remember, it's pure illusion to think there's a designer, like Richard Dawkins. So there's namam duskritina mudha prapadyanti naradama mayaya aparita jnana, that the great intellectuals, they're still covered. They just refuse to entertain the idea because their scientific enterprise is influenced by what is called empiricism. Seeing, basically, in a simple way, seeing is believing. If my external senses don't connect with it, it's not real. But there's a famous scholar who is quite receptive to the Hare Krishna movement. He's not alive anymore. George Wald from Harvard, and his mentor and friend was Albert Einstein, who actually made a statement that behind this universe there's some kind of a background spirit, an organizational force which is you know, guiding the symphony. It's like a great symphony of the cosmos. So Einstein actually said that. Anyway, George Wald, he said that if I play chess with a computer and it beats me, does the computer feel proud? And he says, I don't think so. But as a science, we don't know what consciousness is. So even they admit that they don't know what is life, what is consciousness. Still, they're persistent in not accepting even an idea that there is a supreme intelligent designer behind our universe. That's the first step. We say that at least open up to the possibility that God could exist. Therefore, hate is there. The extreme demoniac people, we're instructed to avoid them. The demons, the real demons, they're angry and full of fury and hate against Lord Vishnu, against Krishna, against the Supreme Lord. They become enraged when someone's out there preaching about God. So that's hate. Now, I don't know how you hated.
Member to a school,
Huh?
public school, college, you're not avoiding those amazing demons because you're being fed their theories.
Mm-hmm.
They have been successful in infiltrating the curriculum of every school in the world. It'd be great if we could avoid them.
They're, the atheistic knowledge elites, as we call them, they're dominating the education system throughout the world. And even here in India, there's this influence that, we have to accept what is called material naturalism, materialistic naturalism. I'm a naturalist. I only accept those things which I can intersect with my instruments of an investigation, microscopes, telescopes, and so on. But there's the first impulse is I refuse to accept God. There is a predilection towards atheism in the soul. Icha dvesha samutena. There's a predilection towards atheism, and there's a avoidance towards serving God. Come on, I'm God. Ajobi janavanasmi kunostu sadrisham maya īśvaraḥ aham bhogi siddhoham balavam sukhi. This is the mentality of the demon. That I'm the supreme enjoyer, I'm very happy, īśvaraḥ aham bhogi siddhoham, and I'm perfect. This is the most advanced society we've ever had. Western civilization is the most advanced. Says who? When we look at the social currents in society, there are so many problems. Like everyone is looking at America as the leader, but the crime rate there, all the various social pathologies, and the mental health of those people is below par, way below par, because they're influenced by passion and ignorance, right? As Krishna says in the Gita, Rajasastu phalam dukam. In the mode of passion, no one can be happy. They can only suffer misery. What to speak of the mode of ignorance, like that. So, as Prabhupada always indicated, this is a war against Kali Yuga. This is a war against Maya. And we are warriors, we're spiritual warriors. And we have to get the armor of Krishna consciousness on so that when we go out into the battlefield, we don't get wounded. And therefore, it's described by Rupa Goswami, that we have to take shelter of the association of devotees all the time. We have to avoid certain things. Atihara prayashascha prajalpaniyamagraha janasangascha lolayam cha. Not associating with materialists means taking shelter of devotees, associating with them constantly, and avoiding the pitfalls the Maya is offering within the mind. The mind is very dangerous. It is the center of, as Prabhupada calls it, the center of all the various senses. It is the manager of all the senses. So Therefore, utishtu, wake up early in the morning, Jeev Jago, before sunrise, and practice sadhana bhakti very carefully. And then also, yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. We have to give this mercy to others. We have to always be ready to share. Gosti Anandi, Prabhupada says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhajananandis are simply sitting in the temple and they see Krishna in the temple, but the Gosti Anandis sees that God is within everyone. And he avoids the demons, he associates with devotees, and he helps the innocent. So when we go out, we find that people are very receptive. Oh, sure, I'd like to read about yoga. I'd like to read this Bhagavad Gita. I've heard of it. And we offer them this mercy. Dadati pratigrinati, we give gifts and we accept some donations. That is our business. And we're on the outside looking in. We are not, no one is inviting us to come and teach the Bhagavad Gita at the universities. Come on and teach about divinity. Teach about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are the real revolutionaries. That day will happen.
It
for
will
sure.
happen. Devotees
Yes.
will be the teachers in the university.
Krishna consciousness will become the knowledge facility, the real knowledge of the world, for sure. It's predicted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have to keep attempting and struggling to and prevail. This movement is destined to spread in a very powerful way and influence leaders and philosophers. And even now, so many scientists, like a person called Fred Hoyle, astrophysicist, he said the likelihood that life could have come from the bumping together of molecules and then some primordial soup and, slithering creatures coming out of this primordial soup. He says the likelihood is 1 chance in 10 to the power 40,000. He made a statement like that. Unfortunately, he was ostracized from the scientific community after he made that statement. So this is the problem, is when you question the orthodox, the going orthodox system, you will be punished. You will be attacked by the community of academic community. So that's hate. That's pure hate. We're not going to tolerate your mythology, your mythology, and they get very angry when you present them or propose the idea of God. So thank you very much. Thank you, Hare Krishna. One question? It's kind of late. I think it's 9:05, so next time.